Mike Majlak released a book, and here we go again, another YouTuber who released a book. Great. How many times have we seen this played out? But this one was different. Now, I read a lot. I love F. Scott Fitzgerald, I love Hemingway. I have a whole stack of books right here where I just read. I love reading. Today at around noon, I found myself, bored in quarantine, looking for something to do, looking for something else to read. So I had the genius idea where I thought, you know what? I keep hearing on this podcast that Mike is releasing this book and he's hyping it up to be this New York Times bestseller and that people are coming to him with movie adaptations, and immediately I called bullcrap. I thought, no way. This is a YouTuber book. People don't care enough. How good could the story really be? And then I watched his podcast and I thought, okay, maybe I can go into this book without the thought of this is Logan Paul's friend. Maybe I could go into the book thinking, what if I'm just entertained by how bad it might be as a YouTuber book? And so I bought it today at noon. And I started reading, and I started reading, and I started reading. And then next thing you know, 6 hours has gone by, and I put down the book. It's a page turner. It kept me hooked the entire time. After reading the book, I realized that what he talks about on the podcast is only about 10% of what has actually gone on in his life. Reading about some of the characters that he's encountered throughout his lifetime is crazy. And a lot of the same situations that Mike's been in, I've been in. I've just been fortunate to be on the other side that he's been on. He references looking at his best friend in a casket, which I've had to do. He references holding a pill in his hand and making the conscious effort to take the pill. Many times in my life, I've had MDMA in front of me in my hand, contemplating whether I should take it or not. And luckily for me, I've always made the conscious choice to not take the drug. As well, he explains how he got hooked on the drug. I see how the addiction started and how easy it was for it to be started. It's not like Mike sat there thinking, you know what, I'm gonna try this drug. Through a series of injuries and through a series of drugs that were administered to him to stop the pain, it became very evident on how this drug addiction was able to start. Where Mike's separated from the greats like Hemingway and Fitzgerald is Hemingway and Fitzgerald write fictional stories that are inspired by real-life events. In Mike's book, they're real stories that are inspired by real events. These are stories that seem so unrealistic that you can't possibly think that this could actually occur. Everyone watched The Wolf of Wall Street. You think when you're watching that movie, there's no way that this happened. But in Mike's life, similar things happen. These stories that Mike's telling, there's no way that these actually happened, but they did. Oftentimes watching the podcast, I'd think, Mike, shut up, we know your story. But after reading the book, I realized that no, we really don't know his story at all. While a lot of people my age won't actually pick up the book to read because that seems so barbaric, you can just watch a Netflix TV show or a Netflix movie and learn the same lessons. You can't. This is a book that surprised me. Mike successfully did something that no other YouTuber was able to do, which is develop a writing voice. A lot of people, when they're writing, they act robotic. They look up words in a thesaurus to make themselves seem smarter, and it just seems super unauthentic. But the way Mike's written this, it actually seems like some parts were really hard for him to write, especially when he's talking about the relationship he has with his family, and specifically his sister and his mother. You can feel the shame in the way that he writes. He doesn't try and use big words or any words where you don't know what he's talking about. Oftentimes, the writing voice people choose to use, especially these YouTubers who aren't used to writing, they misinterpret why the reader's reading. The reader's not reading your story because they want to hear how smart you are. They're reading because they want to know who you are. Mike said that people were looking to him for movie adaptations of this book already, and before reading the book, I called bullshit in my own mind. I thought there's no way that already people want to make movies. And then I read the book. A movie adaptation could be good not only for society in my generation, but to a lot of people to understand what's going on out there. Now, I knew about this war on drugs and specifically the opioid crisis prior to going into this. There's a difference between knowing that it's happening and finding out what's happening on the front lines. With everything that's happening during this quarantine and in COVID, the world seems pretty scary. But to someone like Mike, the world's been scary for a lot longer, and there's a lot scarier things out there in the world. This opioid crisis is a major thing, and I was ignorant to it prior to reading this book. Addiction really is a disease, and he explains it so well, and he does a good job at playing both sides. Now, you never truly recover from an addiction. You're always battling this fight in you. I have no experience in drug addiction, nor do I ever want to. But this book has definitely opened my eyes to being able to know what's going on out there, and understanding why people do it. It's not always because you're sad and you're looking for an escape. Sometimes it happens by accident. Sometimes a series of injuries or hardships can lead you down a path that you just can't escape from. Even with the successes he has on the podcasts, it seems like he battles with this every single day. And while many might comment on the podcasts and tell him that he needs to stop talking about his hard times, I wasn't planning on reading this book, and through boredom I actually found myself deciding to do it. And this isn't another YouTuber book. This isn't a book written by Logan Paul's friend. This isn't a book looking for a cash grab. This is a book explaining one story of millions. This is a story of someone who's made it out and has the voice to be able to tell a story that could change lives. All it's left me with is the want to have a conversation with him, to talk to him about a lot of the things that I've gone through, and to be able to understand him more. I'm very grateful that I came across this book. It's hard for me to see him as just another YouTuber now, and I feel like I actually understand him a lot more, which is very cool to me, especially when there's all these influencers on the platform who truly, you don't really know who they are. He earned a fan in me, and while I'm not reacting to a video, I reacted to a book, and I think it's very important that this video was made. I'll be back Sunday with a little bit of a lighter video and a fun reaction video, but I'm very glad that I made this, and I'm very glad I read the book. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.